let me take a really, I'll use this example because it's so widespread. Fear of public speaking is like the number one fear, or number one phobia, I should say, the number one anxiety shared by tons of people around the world.
Yeah.
People who are afraid of public speaking, they get the sweats, they get dry throat, their knees shake, or they'll just run away, all that kind of stuff. 100% of those feelings are coming from thought. None of it's coming from public speaking. None of it's coming from the act of standing in front of a group of people and talking. Because if that was dangerous,
Yes, exactly.
then the only people who could do it would be people who had something wrong with them.
Right.
But the reality is the only difference between freaked out public speakers and comfortable, confident public speakers is the comfortable, confident public speakers don't have a lot on their mind. And even if they do, like, here's the thing. I was training all day today, so I'm working with a group. And it didn't happen today, but once in a while, like I've been doing this stuff for years, once in a while, something that'll happen that'll throw me for a loop. Like I'll just be, knocked off guard or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't really have much, like in the moment, I might get a bit bothered about it, but then I notice the feeling, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be helpful. Okay, just give me a second to get my bearings, and then I get my bearings, and then I know what to do. So it's no big deal. Whereas back when I used to be afraid of public speaking, it felt like that was a nightmare scenario, and if it happened, it would seem to me like, oh, it's all going wrong, and all these things are happening.
Yeah.
Not realizing that was all from my thinking. And not only was it coming from my thinking, my feelings were telling me about my thinking, not about the situation. The situation was I was in a room with a bunch of my colleagues, or I was in a room with a bunch of my clients, or I was in a room with an audience. It's not like they were going to flay me alive if I said the wrong thing or something.
Yeah.
The feelings were coming from thought taking form in the moment, but it seemed like those feelings were something to do with the audience, or something to do with the stage, or something to do with the talk I was giving, or something to do with me. It was like they must have something to do with it. And it was kind of and even when I first started to learn about thought, with cognitive approaches and that sort of thing, it still seemed like there was reality and there was thinking about reality, and they both played a part.
Right, yeah.
It was kind of like, well, there's no smoke without fire. I understand it may be mostly thought, but there's a fire here somewhere. And what I'm here to say is there is smoke without fire. When it comes to our anxieties, our worries, our thought-generated discomfort, there is smoke without fire, because the feelings are 100%. The feeling is coming from 100% of the principle of thought taking form in our experience. None of it's coming from the world out there. But as soon as we believe it's coming from the world out there, then here's what's happening. And I know I did this on the call the other night, but I want to repeat it. So if you'll do it with me, like just tap yourself on the forehead. Just like that. Just tap yourself on the forehead. Now that's not troubling or bothersome at all. But if someone came up and started doing it to you, it's kind of freaky. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like, because we intuitively know that if it's coming from outside of us, it's out of our control. There's a greater threat. It's sort of the opposite of why you can't tickle yourself. You can't tickle yourself because you know that you're doing it. Once in a while, I'll meet someone. They'll say, "Oh, well, I can tickle myself." I said, "Go on then." No, no, I can't. You can't do it because you doing it. And once you know that it's you doing it, it doesn't have the same charge. It doesn't have the same thing. So to the Knut who said, "I totally get it and I totally understand it," and I say this with the deepest respect, because I went for years thinking I understood this and not understanding it at all, and it didn't do me any good. I want to tell you, it's my guess that you don't get it, that you don't understand it, and that's really good news. See, you'll know if you understand it because it'll do something for you. You'll know if you get it because it'll help you out. It'll make a difference. It'll be doing something for you. And if it's not doing something for you, then you don't get it, and that's okay. Stop telling yourself that you get it, because then you open to learning something new. If you're telling yourself you get it, I understand it, I know this, I understand it, I get it, then you're basically saying there's nothing to learn here. And what I'm telling you is, unless it's doing something for you, there's something phenomenal to learn. And you can learn it. It's there inside of you. This knowledge, this wisdom, this understanding, it's there inside of you, just waiting to come to the surface. It's waiting to come and emerge and step into your life as soon as you stop telling yourself you already know this. You'll know when you know it, because you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference that it's making for you in your life. And you'll experience the freedom and the peace and the enjoyment and the connection that comes with that. And if you're not experiencing that yet, it's okay. It's there within you, so you will experience it. You stop telling yourself you already know it, because if it's not showing up for you, then at least in this moment, you don't. And I got to tell you, I have times when I don't know it. When I'm like, and in those times when I don't know it, telling myself that I know it, it doesn't help me. So in those moments when I'm just not seeing it, I'm like, oh well, I guess I just don't see it at the moment, and then it passes.
Yeah.
So that's my long-winded answer to this question.